Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook. The Age of Cards. The 100 Ghosts Night Walk is drawn at the start. Chapter 41. Yeezy won. It took quite a while for the announcement of victory to appear. The students watching the battle still haven't recovered. Is this a win? It was obvious that Gao Fuxin had the upper hand just moments ago. 4 ferocious and powerful demon Kalings steadied Yeezy's Kalings. As a result, Yeezy's Kaling exploded and killed his opponent in a blink of an eye, leaving Gao Fuxin powerless to fight back. The sudden change in the situation was simply unpredictable. And the results were astounding. Gao Fuxin actually lost miserably to Yeezy. That was the second-ranked senior in the 3rd grade. Lost to a freshman. No one would believe it unless they saw it with their own eyes. Too strong. After a long while, someone murmured to break the silence. The others came back to their senses, and they all showed excited expressions. This reversal is so exciting. I didn't expect Yeezy to really win. Let me just say, Yeezy is the biggest dark horse in this college competition. That's a 3rd-year student. Yeezy won't be able to continue to win in the future, he will become famous in this battle alone. Indeed, no matter what happens after that, at least Yeezy's performance so far has been amazing enough. Successfully passed the 2nd round of the college competition as a freshman, and defeated the 2nd-ranked senior in the 3rd year. This record alone is very dazzling. As soon as Yeezy left the practice space, Xiao Huaning and He Qingqing happily greeted him. The eyes of the 2 women looking at Yeezy were sparkling, full of joy and admiration. Especially He Qingqing. The surprise that Yeezy brought her was too great. Even if she faced Gao Fuxin, she couldn't defeat him so easily. But Yeezy did it. What's more, he doesn't look like he's doing his best. How strong is the real strength of this man you see? He Qingqing was very curious. She felt that she had to spend more time in the future to get to know the man in front of her. Compared to everyone's excitement and envy, Yeezy seemed more calm and calm. His goal is to be the head of the academy. And at the moment, it has only been promoted to the top 256, and there is still a long way to go. After the 2nd round of competition, the students under the 4th grade were basically eliminated. The remaining non-4th graders were only Yeezy and He Qingqing. However, in the next 3rd round, He Qingqing unfortunately lost to a 4th grader. On the contrary, Yeezy defeated his opponent easily as always. Relying on the astrology card, Gui Rong, and Yu Zhaoqian, he was on a roll and broke into the top 32 without encountering any setbacks. This time the whole 4th grade was shocked. Many 4th graders have been asking around about this tough first-year freshman. Never in the history of Tianxin College has a freshman achieved such outstanding results in the college competition. In the past, as long as they passed the qualifiers, the freshmen would be proud. However, now there is a freak who has beaten a lot of 4th graders. I haven't come to the academy for a few months. I didn't expect such a powerful little guy to appear among the freshmen. In the lounge, Xu Jiazhou flipped through the roster of the top 32 with a touch of emotion on his face. Yeah, now the whole academy is discussing this freshman named Yeezy. He is probably more famous than you. The companion next to him joked. Xu Jiazhou smiled indifferently. Another companion waved his hand and said, "That's because he is a freshman, and he has received a lot of attention, but no one really thinks he can win the championship. That's natural. Hey, as far as you know, who doesn't know this?" Laughing and scolding each other, a few people stopped. The companion who spoke at the beginning regained his solemn expression and said to Xu Jiazhou seriously, "Although Yeezy is interesting, he is not the focus of our attention. Wu Yan and Guo Lanhua are the opponents that need your attention." The 2 of them were promoted to 3-star card disciples 3 months ago. I heard that they passed the nightmare level, which is second only to hell and horror. It is estimated that their strength has grown a lot. If you want to win the championship, these 2 are your biggest opponents. When it comes to business, Xu Jiazhou's expression is also much more solemn. I know. Rest assured, I will definitely defeat them. Xu Jiazhou said with a firm expression. For the 4th graders, this year's college competition is the last. So in any case, Xu Jiazhou must get the 1st place and achieve his goal of becoming the chief of the academy. No matter who is blocking the front, he will defeat the opponent without hesitation. Similar conversations take place in the other 2 lounges. Only the central parties were replaced by Wu Yan and Guo Lanhua. The three most outstanding students in the 4th grade, and the three most powerful students in Tianxin Academy, all tried their best to win the academy chief. Dark Tide Surges. Chapter 42. The third day of the college competition. The round of 16 is about to be held. A total of 16 games will be held simultaneously in the practice space after half an hour. In the seat, Yeezy was closing his eyes and meditating. He Qingqing and Xiao Huaning were staring at the competition list, frowning slightly. It's really unfortunate. How come you have to face Wu Yan in the round of 16? He Qingqing let out a long sigh. After the 4th grade, students basically don't stay in the college very much. Either go for an internship in an adventure group under the name of the military or major companies, or form an adventure team to receive mission experience. Therefore, the 4th graders far surpass the other 3 grades in terms of strength and combat experience. The gap between the 4th grade and the 3rd grade is much larger than that between the 3rd grade and the 2nd grade. Therefore, after reaching the top 256, there are almost no players other than 4th graders. Only an unexpected freak like Yeezy could make it all the way to the top 32. However, in the eyes of many, his road to promotion will end here. Because Yeezy's next opponent is Wu Yan, one of the strongest 3 recognized by the 4th grade. The most popular candidates for this year's college competition. In terms of strength, Wu Yan is more than a star and a half stronger than Gao Fuxin. I heard that Wu Yan has joined the military in Tianxin City and has successfully performed several missions. Now he has the rank of 2nd lieutenant. Xiao Huaning was speechless. Her father, Xiao Yingfan, is a high-ranking military officer, so he has access to a lot of information in this area on weekdays. 2nd lieutenant. He Qingqing was also a little surprised. A student who has not graduated can serve as a lieutenant. In addition to family background, it is more proof of strength. Thinking of this, the 2 girls frowned more and more deeply. Are you two so unconfident in me? Yeezy opened his eyes and laughed. After all, that's the top 3 elites in the 4th grade. Xiao Huaning said hesitantly. Then let's make a bet. If I win, how about you kiss me? Yeezy pointed to his cheek. Xiao Huaning blushed, not knowing how to answer. He Qingqing next to him suddenly came up. Next second. A warm touch came, and still on the lips. Quote question mark question mark question mark quote. Yeezy was a little startled. Xiao Huaning was also startled, staring at He Qingqing with wide eyes. I gave the bet first, A's, you must win, and you can't renege on your debt. He Qingqing's cheeks were a little hot. Although he has a bright and generous personality, it is the first time he has taken the initiative to make such a move in public. It's impossible not to be shy. What's more, it was her first kiss. At this time, He Qingqing suddenly thought of something, and immediately asked with a serious look. A's, have you ever done this kind of thing with other girls before? Yeezy was taken aback. If it's only after transmigration, then he really hasn't done it in this world. No need to answer, Yeezy's expression said it all. He Qingqing's beautiful eyes lit up immediately, with a happy expression on her face. Xiao Huaning's face collapsed, and he felt remorse in his heart. I knew I was going to be on it earlier, so I was so shy. This is good, He Qingqing was the first to board. After sulking for a while, Xiao Huaning simply leaned towards Yeezy's face. There was a soft touch on the lips again. Yeezy was also a little stunned at this meeting. What do you two want to do? This is the public. The male students on the side were all red-eyed. Damn it. Watching a game can be fed dog food. Still double. Respect the game, okay. Didn't you see that the other contestants looked like they were on the verge of an enemy? Just you hug and play kiss game here. Too envious. Bah, so irritating. He Qingqing and Xiao Huaning finally realized that their behavior was inappropriate, blushed and lowered their heads, like an ostrich. After half an hour, the game is on time. Yeezy, who came to the waiting area ahead of time, was quickly teleported into the practice space. Compared to previous games, this time the space is 4 or 5 times larger. The arena is also more spacious. Obviously a change made in consideration of the strength of the contestants. Junior Yeezy, hello. More than 20 meters away on the opposite side, a short and sturdy young man with a flat head smiled and said hello to him. First meeting. My name is Wu Yan. Hello, senior. Reaching out his hand not to hit the smiling face, Yeezy also smiled back in greeting. I heard about your experience, and I have to admit that you are much better than we were back then. Although stronger than Gao Fuxin, Wu Yan did not have the arrogance and aggressiveness of the former, and his eyes were fixed on Yeezy when he spoke, with undisguised fighting intent in his eyes. My intuition tells me that you will be a good opponent. I hope we can have no regrets and enjoy the next battle. It seems that this senior Wu Yan is still a war idiot. Yeezy knew it in his heart, and nodded with a light smile. No problem. Chapter 43. After reaching a consensus, Yeezy and Wu Yan stopped talking, but waited quietly. After a while, a countdown appears. The moment of 0. The two of them started at the same time, took out cards with ease, and summoned Kaling at the same time. Fire flashes. The hot breath spread out, and the temperature in the air rose rapidly. 17 or 8 or more than 3 meters tall, and the whole body is made of rock. There is a huge stone monster with magma flowing and shining between the gaps. Immediately after, another 7 or 8 flame giants appeared in the ring. Lava stone monster, level 50. Fire elemental giant, level 55. There are a total of more than 20 fire attribute Kalings of more than 50 levels. The arena turned into a scorching hot spot in a blink of an eye. Appeared. That is Senior Wu Yan's lava field. It is said that it is a rare deck. Hey, this lineup, as expected of Senior Wu Yan. All of them are over level 50 Kalings. I'm envious, my strongest Kaling is only level 33. While the crowd watching the battle was amazed, they turned their eyes to Yeezy subconsciously, wanting to see what he would summon. In full view. As always, Yeezy used Guarong to raise the level of the Fox Girl to level 65 before summoning Tamamo before calmly drawing another card. Scene card, Desolate and Dry Forest. One of the only 2 scene cards in Bagui Night Walk. The curling mist suddenly emerged and slowly drifted away. Wherever the fog passed, withered and fallen dead trees appeared out of thin air. The hard and flat arena ground turned into an uneven barren field at some point in time. The eerie and long whimpering sound came from all directions, as far as it was close, and it was impossible to fathom. In just an instant, a layer of gloomy aura shrouded the surroundings, as strange as a ghost realm. Looking at this scene, Wu Yan, who had always been calm and confident, suddenly widened his eyes, showing an expression of disbelief. Scenario card. At the same time, there were also exclamations one after another from the crowd watching the battle. Everyone stared at the ring, which had changed a lot, with their eyes wide open, and their faces were shocked. As we all know, only fantasy level and above decks will have scene cards. That is to say, what Yeezy holds as a fantasy level deck. Isn't it? This is real. Could it be a special astrology card? Impossible. No matter how special astrology cards are, there is no effect of silently changing the environment. In other words, it's really a scene card. The square was eerily still for a moment. Everyone looked at each other, feeling a little lost for a while, not knowing what to say. Don't look at the fantasy level and the rare level are only one level apart. It represents an insurmountable gap. This not only refers to the power of the deck, but also the difficulty of obtaining it. Rare decks are rare, but the Tianxin Academy of New Oda can always find 4 or 5 students who have them. But fantasy is different. At least until today, I haven't heard of that student holding a fantasy deck. One of the most well-known ways to get fantasy decks is through difficult progression quests. As long as you can pass the horror level difficulty, it is possible to get a fantasy level deck. And in the low star advanced tasks, you must pass the highest hell level difficulty, and it is possible to get the fantasy level deck. This is undoubtedly impossible. But here comes the problem. How could Yeezy have a fantasy deck? A small number of well-informed students immediately link this incident with the previous incident of someone passing the hell level advanced quest. Only those in Class A knew that Yeezy had drawn the current deck on the day of his awakening. And they also saw Yeezy use scene cards in the Death Knell Canyon Bug Tide incident, and they already knew about fantasy level decks. It's just that Qin Hong privately ordered them not to leak this information, so not many people in the academy know the truth so far. Ah, Azer's deck is fantasy level. He Qingqing looked at Xiao Huaning in surprise, with a questioning look. Xiao Huaning thought for a while, perhaps thinking that the relationship between He Qingqing and Yeezy was enough to know the secret, so he nodded. Under her explanation, He Qingqing finally came to a realization. The gaze that looked at Yeezy was also filled with a hint of admiration and admiration. This man can always bring himself a steady stream of surprises. There was an uproar outside. Wu Yan in the ring was also in an uneasy mood, and a thin layer of sweat had faintly leaked from his forehead. In the army, he has come into contact with many strong military K artists, and his knowledge of fantasy-level decks is far beyond that of ordinary students. If he had thought that Yeezy was just a good opponent before, he could have some fun in the fight. That is now a formidable enemy. This apprentice is really unexpected. Wu Yan showed a wry smile. Chapter 44. On the gloomy arena. The figure in front of Tamamo almost turned into an afterimage. With the blessing of the desolate and dry forest scene card, her movements were so fast that it was difficult to see with the naked eye. The magic power is also greatly increased. Conversely, the actions of lava monsters and fire giants have been significantly weakened. They were originally cumbersome, and now they couldn't even touch the corners of Tamamo's clothes, so they could only passively withstand the attack. It is worth mentioning that the attributes of the magic power mastered by Tamamo before are very comprehensive. Wind, thunder, fire, and even the power of earth and water attributes can be manipulated and used. Every time the 9 fluffy tails are swayed, they can set off a torrent-like water wave, making the lava monsters and the fire element giants wailing. But for a moment, fire attribute Kalings were killed by more than 1/3. The huge level difference, coupled with the ups and downs brought by the scene cards, made the battle fall into a one-sided situation from the beginning. Seeing this scene, Wu Yan's expression changed, and finally he just gritted his teeth and drew out a few new cards. A large dazzling light flashed. All of a sudden, thousands of human snake heads appeared on the ring. The body surface was covered with scales, and the humanoid monster with wings on its back. Winged Serpent, level 30. Second deck. FK, it's a military-style deck. More than 1,000 level 30 Kalings. Tisk tisk, I didn't expect Wu Yan to hide this trump card. This time Yeezy is in trouble. The crowd watching the battle exclaimed. Yeezy was also a little surprised. But after thinking about it, I was relieved. You can get a new deck by completing the advanced tasks of the difficulty level and above. It is not surprising that an elite student like Wu Yan has a second deck. Summoning the Winged Serpent core, Wu Yan couldn't help but let out a long sigh. This is his last trump card. It was originally intended to defeat Xu Jiazhou and Guo Lanhua, but was forced out by a first-year junior. Really unpredictable. But this way, there should be no problem. Wu Yan fixed his eyes on Yeezy. The 1,000-strong Winged Serpent core, plus the remaining fire attribute Kaling. Even if Yeezy summoned other card spirits, it was nothing to be afraid of. There are so many military system Kaling, Master, I can't handle it. Yu Zhaoqin retreated to Yeezy's side, looked at the winged snake people crowding the arena in amazement, covered his mouth and whispered, frowning slightly. A tender look. If everyone present had not seen her slaughtering fire-type Kaling, they would have believed it to be true. This drama. Yeezy shook his head helplessly, ignoring it, and drew a card with his backhand. Core card, 100 Ghosts Night Walk. The core card is the most powerful card in a deck, and can only be unlocked and used when the unlocking degree reaches 100%. Yeezy hasn't used this card since the Night Walk of 100 Ghosts was fully unlocked. I didn't expect that the first use would be in the college competition. His eyes flashed, Yeezy's mind moved slightly, and he used the card decisively. Time seemed to stand still for a moment. Wu Yan was stunned to find that the field of vision on the ring had become much darker for some time. The surroundings were shrouded in darkness all of a sudden, as if it had entered the night in an instant. The night was hazy. Countless blood lights slowly lit up. Densely filled the darkness behind Yeezy, like a rain of blood-red light. Creepy. After a closer look, I was shocked to realize that those bloody ons were actually pairs of pupils full of resentment and bloodshot eyes. Countless black lines stretched out, outlining the figure of the owner of the pupil. Or huge, or petite, or thin, or obesity. Strange shapes and shapes. The only thing that is the same is the ferocious and cold aura that wants to choose someone to devour. Whether it's Wu Yan or the crowd in the off-field battle. At this time, he couldn't help holding his breath, looking at the monstrous wave of blood behind Yeezy. The other side of the arena was covered by the darkness, and in the dimness, the appearance of the winged serpent and the fire attribute Kaling could be seen in panic. Bloody and dark. Yeezy seems to be the dividing line between the two. Until he spoke softly. Go. The night tour begins. Countless strange, high-pitched cheers rang out. The blood-colored wave behind Yeezy swept forward, and countless ghosts rushed out fiercely, screaming and screaming to kill their prey. Dressed in a red kimono with loose hair, Hashihime walked slowly. Wherever they passed, water trails filled the air, and the ground turned into a pool, from which one pale arm stretched out, grabbed the nearby winged snake man, and pulled them into the depths of the pool. Wearing light armor and wearing a demon mask, Hongye Kuri holds a sharp sword, and he kills and kills among the winged snake people, and there is almost no enemy. Guhuo bird stretched its wings and hovered in the air. Or opened his mouth and spit out invisible sound waves, shaking a large number of winged snake people to death. Or puffed up his chest and took a breath, and immediately saw countless winged snake people twitched and fell, and the gray-white soul separated from the body and disappeared into its mouth. Hundred-eyed demon, black tomb, green heron fire, master Qingfang. Countless monsters and evil spirits slaughtered and turned the ring into a living hell. At every moment there are serpents wailing and dying. The corner of the ring. Wu Yan stood still, his eyes were lost, and it took a long time before he uttered a word. Core card. Chapter 45. Core card. The spectators were shocked. That is a powerful card that can only be used when the deck unlocking degree reaches 100%. Although even common level decks have core cards, very few students can actually use them. There is no reason for him. It is simply that the unlocking degree is too difficult to improve. In addition to using precious rare items to forcibly improve, if you want to increase the unlocking degree, you can only continue to use and familiarize yourself with cards, and improve them little by little. This process often takes a long time. The vast majority of students don't even have an 80% deck unlock rate by the time they graduate. So, typically, a card player only uses 1 or 2 decks, and rarely owns more than that. Wasting too much energy on different decks will only slow down growth in the end. Wu Yan practiced hard for more than 3 years. During this period, he even used some strange things with family resources, but he only increased the unlock rate of the lava region deck to more than 90%. However, how long has it been since Yeezy's new awakening? Is there a month? To the point of being completely unlocked. Simply incredible. Many people rubbed their eyes subconsciously, wondering if they were hallucinating. But no matter how you look at it, other than the core card, no other card has such power. Unbelievable. FK, I'm also a freshman, and my deck unlock rate is less than 12%. Me too. How did Yeezy do this? Quote. My 4th grader's deck unlock rate is not 70%. In the past 3 years, I have really cultivated on the dog. The noisy discussions outside could not reach Wu Yan's ears. Even if it is possible, he has already lost his mind. Now he has seen the power of the core cards of fantasy decks. 1 minute. Just a minute. The 1,000-man regiment of the level 30 winged serpents was on the verge of collapse. Lava stone monsters and fire element giants have long been slaughtered. Kaling was nearly wiped out. By this time, the outcome was already clear. A fully unlocked fantasy level deck. I'm not a loser. Wu Yan smiled bitterly and looked up at Yeezy. Even though victory was within reach, Yeezy's face still did not show the slightest excitement, and his expression was light. He hasn't done his best, has he? Wu Yan was taken aback by the sudden thought of his own. But intuition tells him that this is not impossible. From the qualifiers to the present, Yeezy's performance has always revealed an elusive meaning. Whenever everyone felt that he had done his best, he would often show more powerful strength and break everyone's guesses. And it's not once or twice. Almost every game is like this. Probably the same now. After a while, Wu Yan shook his head to shake the extra thoughts out of his mind. Anyway, he has already lost, and the next game has nothing to do with him anymore. It's useless to think about it. Taking a deep look at Yeezy again, Wu Yan raised his hand neatly to admit defeat. This is the first game to end in the round of 16. With results that no one expected. He Qingqing and Xiao Huaning didn't come back to their senses until Yeezy returned to his seat and looked at him in a cute manner. Yeezy couldn't help but reached out and pinched their cheeks. The two let out a low cry and woke up. I was worried about whether you would lose or not before, but now it seems that it is no use worrying. Although it was a complaining tone, the look on He Qingqing's face was very happy. Xiao Huaning pursed his lips, smiled and said nothing. In the past few days, she has been surprised by the college competition, and she has been a little numb. I don't know what to say other than being overjoyed. I said that you can rest assured that this bet was not wronged in advance, right? Yeezy laughed. The two women spit in unison and turned their heads away. This would be tacit. Obviously there were frequent quarrels before. Yeezy laughed dumbly, looked at their slightly red ears, and didn't make any more jokes. Square corner. In a temporary ward. Gao Fuxin stared blankly at the light screen in front of him. Most of his injuries have been healed under the healing of medical astrology. However, his face was still gray, as if he had suffered some kind of huge blow. The reason for everything is the game just seen before in the second round. Although Gao Fuxin lost, he was unwilling in the end, believing that he underestimated Yeezy and used the wrong battle strategy. If the game is to be played again and Xingli is properly arranged, it is uncertain who will die. Until I saw Yeezy's performance in the round of 16. The appearance of the core card, 100 Ghosts Night Walk, finally made Gao Fuxin realize. In the previous game, Yeezy was simply playing. From start to finish, he didn't even use half of his strength. If not, in the second round, as long as Yeezy played his core cards, he would lose without even the slightest resistance. This fact gave Gao Fuxin a huge shock. The whole person suddenly fell into depression. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.